Can't go wrong with that.
If you want to eat healthy and feel your best, you gotta try Cashapp. Cashapp is the world's healthiest all-in-one.
Put you over here. Get this shit rolling. Oh, whoa. Hell yeah, it is. All right, what's up, guys? Much love, many blessings. Has been a live hiatus, but there have been really good things in store. I hope that each and every one of you has been making those forward pushes and strives during the season, especially since we're entering into the Aquarius season. And actually, that's actually one of the reasons why, since I had promised to actually get to the Venus retrograde, it feels like a really good time since we're getting ready to switch over to Venus in Aquarius, which should be literally at the end of this month. So we're not too far away from that, and we're starting to wrap up the Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So I definitely wanted to talk about that one. Just with my own personal life, it seems like things got away from me, and I was going back over the charts. Like, I was actually looking at the charts, the planetary alignment charts recently, and I was like, dog, there's so many Capricorn placements. I think like Mars and Venus, of course, and the Sun before I switched over to Aquarius was in Capricorn. Pluto's in Capricorn, and Mercury is in Capricorn. So pretty much all of our expression, if getting back to the things that we left undone was a symbolically represented as an entity, it would be that planetary placement right now with so many Capricorn placements. So as we were kind of like moving through the Capricorn Sun season, like I had talked about before, there was just a lot of longing to do the things that were left undone, or just things that we felt like we could have a better outcome with. I particularly want to talk about just the weight and the burden of this last Venus transit in Capricorn, retrograde or not willing, because when we deal with Capricorn, we're really dealing with the sign of karmic cycles, and as this placement is like wrapping up and we're completing this love and value cycle. For a lot of us, things were brought to the surface that were really, really old, really, really deep-seated, childhood-seated, or just suppressed in general. And we're going into a month that has a lot to do with ancestral veneration, just things being aligned the right way, or just being smoothed over, or reaping what we sow. So with a lot of the ancestral movement, the ancestral veneration, lighting our altars, the Black History Month, it just really there's a call within the collective that we've been seeing, to get back to the source, get back to the things where you came from, whether we're getting back to our own personal source or just spending more time with family or just spending time with loved ones that are here or not. And, veneration is just by definition, goes beyond just the present moment, because sometimes we're seeking the knowledge and the wisdom of what the people who have more wisdom than us would do, even though they're not here. So we're conferring to them and counseling with them because we knew that they had the best judgment when faced with these situations, or similar situations, at least karmically. With so much karmic energy, like I found myself like really just thinking about the people and the things that's been coming back to me lately, whether it's projects that I thought that weren't really going to work out. Personally, I had to let go of some things with myself because, I made all these promises, okay, I'm going to do this. I was really excited. I was feeling all this energy from the Venus retrograde, and I was like, man, this is going to be a great segment. I'm going to talk about that. And it was just like, okay, well, this is coming up. Got to take care of that. This is coming up. Got to take care of that. And I was just like, damn. I'm like, okay, well, this shit's really starting to get away from me. But, whatever. Let's just adjust with spirit and do what we need to do. And I had to just really be honest with myself because I was trying to maintain these portals or just maintain these tasks and desires and things that I was trying to track or just accomplish for the collective. Because when I set a goal, it's like you really want to complete it. So as I started to see that the weight of all the things that I was coming across was actually affecting me just as much as everybody else, I started to realize okay, realistically what I can do and what I can't do. And really, part of it has me thinking heavily about just how the Venus placement, the Capricorn placement, and both the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde just impacted me, especially during the Capricorn season. And it just has me thinking about the collective push to satisfy old desires and drives. And I do want to say that one thing I will say, just between readings and just from the people I've observed and my own self journey and personal life, is anything that happened that transpired during the last kind of 3-4 months, like this last month, I want to say through December and just especially through January, and the people that were coming back up to you, the people old flames and situations that were coming back into your life, because retrogrades are really good at bringing those people back into our lives, reminding us of things to see if we have passed the test or if we've grown in our wisdom, to see if we'll actually make a more informed decision with the karmic cycle that we face in our current present moment. So we had a lot of people coming back up to us from the past, especially when we're dealing with Capricorn and that devil energy. Things can look very appealing. Soulmates, people can look like soulmates. Karmic ties, karmic partners can look like, oh, you know what? This is looking really fucking good right now. I need to clean this up, fix this up, and make this work. And Spirit was putting a lot of things in your face, especially with Capricorn placement in Venus. Capricorn, that earthly cardinal sign, wants to make real strides with what has been invested in. And there were relationships and some jobs or even opportunities that you left where you left them. And you've been trying these last few months to see what can come of this, or if Spirit or just the universe is, with the fact that it's been presenting these relationships to you again, is that a sign that this is something I'm supposed to work on? Am I supposed to try to make this work again? And ultimately, with the wrap up, because we're dealing with the karmic cycle of Venus, and Venus being associated with Saturn, the planet of cycles and karma, and the things that we repeat and we're held down by, it is important for you to know that any relationship, any prospect, any idea or perspective that you've been trying to work out that has not aligned or resolved itself or come to a conclusion, or you've not been able to make it harmonious, is not for you. That relationship that seemed good but is toxic, or is just not bringing out the best state for you, and you just can't figure out why it won't harmonize. This was the time to let you know that it is not for you. All the things that were coming back to you that you were able to fix and clean up and align are the things that you get to take into 2022 and seed and build on. So Capricorn is always about seeding and building and starting new things. And sometimes when it looks at things that are overburdensome or that cause one to overthink, those are the things and within our awareness that we're supposed to be looking at and be saying like, hey, am I putting in too much work? Because Capricorn will let you know like, hey, this is about 1,000 steps and I'm not seeing the investment or the benefit here for the situation. So with the value in Venus and Capricorn emotionally and within the things that we've been driving towards within our heart sector, we have to accept the fact that how we've been romanticizing a situation. Is that ex or that person that came back after 3 or 4 years that I was one of the few people that I could actually connect or really got me? Am I supposed to be building on that, or is this a manipulative situation where we're going back to old codependency triggers? Because a lot of the things that we couldn't get was like 5 fucking placements in Capricorn, and predominantly the Capricorn Sun. When Capricorn's not getting what it wants, you will know because it's very apparent in the energy. When Capricorn's not getting what it wants, it throws a temper tantrum, and that temper tantrum is either the need to leave the situation if it's too emotionally burdensome, or to really throw yourself more into the work on some tunnel vision shit. Just as far as it really makes me think on that devil energy. Just focusing on the prize at hand without consideration of the things around you. So all of this weight, there's been a lot of just weird vibes within connections, especially with connections that are already established, whether it's in relation to the work field, social dynamics, and how one is exerting themselves in the world. Because I do have to touch on Capricorn being in Mars, and Capricorn doesn't necessarily do the best when Capricorn placement is in Mars. It can be really easy to trigger. The temperament is kind of like this seething eruption, quiet eruption waiting to erupt. And then when it's actually pushed to that point, once it's there, it stays there. And that's because when Capricorn deals with Mars energy, it already has this streak of not necessarily liking to be challenged when it's going for the things that are important to it. Whereas Aries or Mars energy sees resistance as challenge, Capricorn will see Mars or the things that challenge its identity, because Mars deals with vitality and the assertion of self, as a no or as a deterrent, and may get discouraged with the resistance that it faces during the time. So, well, since Capricorn is in so many placements, especially with Mars and Venus, it can be good for the drive, but where we may see the resistance is if we've been feeling a lack of self-esteem, or we've been facing situations where loved ones, or we just haven't been getting the support we want. That Mars placement with Capricorn can deter us from the desires that may or may not be very close within our energy field, simply because it may take a little more exertion to actually bring those about. So I actually want to touch, with so much energy coming from the February month ahead and the Black History Month, and just ancestral veneration. Ancestral veneration is going to keep playing in my mind. I'll definitely be using the Hoodoo deck. I've been feeling that. I've been wanting to kind of tap and channel into that energy to really bring out, just some authentic getting back to the earth and divinity, root work, and things of that nature. So, and it really kind of has me thinking. I don't even know what made me get back to get on that point, but just as far as some of the things you'll be seeing come up in the justice system, just working with just the herbs and tobacco, things that help to keep the law on your side, keep law in your favor. Because when we think about the justice system, sometimes we can have a corrupted opinion about it, because sometimes it seems like a lot of people who shouldn't get off. But bad people get off, but the law can work and good people can get off too. So sometimes when we work with root workers or we work with the universe, we have to know the source of why we do certain things. Because, I had people ask me, why would you call your conjure oil fuck a op, or just things like that, and it's kind of like, we have to know the history of why it's kind of like law avoid or judge favor or keep the cops away. And sometimes when we don't think about the history of the roles of how institutions or principalities were established, we just see the present moment situation. We just see, the law officer, we just see the cop, and we don't necessarily know the ancestral energy that sometimes goes behind that, or the ancestral energy of the police, especially from the South, and just the coming from just the people, the slave traders, and the people who were trying to round up the slaves and things like that. And that's not always just about slaves, but sometimes even when the government trying to establish taxes or unjust fines, or sometimes when people step into the role of being able to have the authority to overstep boundaries without justified cause just because it's your role, there's an entitlement or abuse of power that comes into that role. And ancestrally, with the role also being associated with the slave runners and the people who tried to get runaway slaves, there is also an ancestral energy that is called forth for us as black people or just minorities, where we have to protect ourselves from watchful eyes and evil eyes that are dressed up as law enforcement that try to come in and snoop around in places that are private. But because they have this authority, they're allowed to step past those boundaries and investigate and create fees and fines in areas that are not supposed to be the case. So ancestrally, when we tap into our source of power, our ancestors in the universe, we employ certain techniques and herbs and things to keep the law in our favor and keep those energies away. Because I mean, if you look at our history, you look at Black Wall Street, it's like, I mean, if we really get down to it, it's like, what do you look at history, you look at all the people who, across all the races, is like the atrocities that have happened, and at some point, the oppressors or the people who have caused the atrocities have been like, damn, like, you know what we did was scudded as fuck. I guess we can throw them some type of stimmy or reparations, or say, get them a day, throw them a day for fucking them over and raping and pillaging something, anything. But you notice it when it comes to black people, it's kind of like this glaze over, and that, like, whether it's related to sexuality and whether it's related to other races or just anything, it's like this movement just moves. But just with black people, it's kind of like this stagnation. It's like, okay, we'll kind of maybe throw you a bone here, or we'll put something in place that's really a red herring for something else. And it shows that, like, as we're moving into the season of justice, or just the ancestors calling for justice, it's like, you have to think about these energies and, like, where is the source coming from? And it's like, you have Black Wall Street, you have these people in, like, creating communities where it's like, you have a government system that systematically is subvertly trying to break down or just harm or poison a community. You put drugs in a community, then when there's nothing left within that community to build on, you don't allow a system, you create a system that creates a tunnel or it creates a pipeline so that everybody becomes stagnant or goes to jail or has poor credit and can't get the jobs that they want. And then you create all these elements that keep the communities that are predominantly black a certain way and keep the vibration down with drugs. And then when they flip the drugs and there's nothing but desert and destruction and no vegetation and there's no life, and we take the poison that you give us and turn it into crack and make an abundance out of nothing, because we're intrinsically designed to create abundance, because you can't stop that process even if you corrupt that process. If you have people who create their own community because they can't be integrated in the community, then you have the people who are threatened by this community destroy Black Wall Street and pillage all these people and destroy all these people and destroy all this shit. It's like, okay, if we side with you, you destroy us. If we create our own thing, you destroy us. And then you systematically always infiltrate and constantly make sure that we stay at a certain point. We're an endangered species. Why the fuck are we paying taxes? Why are we in a nation where the nation's trying to kill us, and everything that's subvertedly designed is designed to keep us down, suppressed, and poison? That sounds like an endangered species. That sounds like somebody that needs to... Why are we paying taxes? Why am I paying for you to fuck me over? Why am I paying taxes to a community or a district, local or otherwise, where it's a sundown town? Like, what the fuck? What am I giving you money for? Am I giving you money to fucking shoot me, lynch me, or to imply that I should get a ticket for driving through your town? I'm paying you. Like, so why the fuck are you trying to kill me? Why are we required to pay taxes or really anything? Like, that's really the fucking issue. But, as we move into, as we get ready to move into the February and just the injustices and the age of Aquarius that's bringing out this century of things that we have glazed over, I think that it's also important to realize the things that we've allowed to keep us held down by fear. As I think about the Capricorn season, the Capricorn sun season, and as we move into the Aquarius season, but just this past month, just moving through like almost five fucking placements in Capricorn, including Pluto, which is responsible for a lot of transformation and changes that have been taking place and how we can do things in a whole new way. What are we there's a lot of things that we've been holding on to with all this placement and all this energy. We've been thinking about our relationships, and it's like, damn, I can't do this, that, or the third because I have to think about this relationship. Damn, this job is so important to me, and I can't travel. I can't do this. I can't take time off. I have PTO that my company actually fucked me over and secretly won't let me use, but gave it to me as a sign-on bonus to get me to join the company. All this little studded shit that we're dealing with, that we're weighed down by, that we overthink about. Aquarius has come along with the Aquarius Sun, as well as the Aquarius and Venus that's getting ready to take place on the end of the month on January 31st. And it's not to say that we're going to start cutting the connections, and because Aquarius sometimes does feel like it can just be emotionally detached. But this energy is actually coming at a time almost as a blessing to help free our minds, to free our upper chakras, to free our upper energy from the weight of things not going the way that we wanted it to go. Because when our crown chakra is imbalanced or we're oversaturated, we think a lot. Because what that means is our crown chakra is how we're applying the energy in our just everything in the world around us, and is it actually happening the way that we believe or that we have faith that the world works around us. And when things are not happening the way that we want, and we're really focused on something, whether it's a heavy breakup or our relationship isn't the way we want it to be, or we're not getting the money that we want, then we lose our appetite. And we don't have the ability to process the energy because it's all stuck up here. As that divine energy comes in to create that connection below, it all stays up here. So we start to get headaches and migraines. We start to overthink, and we carry all this energy, and every action that we consider taking is weighed down by like 10, 15, 20,000 fucking possibilities. So we have to be thankful for this Aquarius energy, because Aquarius can kind of just detach and just kind of take off on a plan and just do something that nobody else has thought of. Ultimately, because it's free from the detachment or the attachment of considering all the other things associated with this thing. And that's great, because it might seem a little scary on one end, because it might seem like, damn, like all the things that were burdening me, I'm just about to drop them off. I'm cutting off all relationships, commitments, and all that shit. And that's not necessarily what that means. What this really means, especially for the Venus and Aquarius and this Venus Sun season, is that the attachments and the burdens that we currently have, or that we find or believe are holding us a certain way, will just simply not have the emotional burden that they once had. And obviously that can have some pros and cons too, but what this will be good for is the people and those of us, especially the fixed signs, my Leos, my Scorpios, and my water signs across the board, that have been having difficulty with movement. This will finally give you that kind of that clear, fresh air and that clarity to be able to make sound decisions and take actions where the things that you have won't create fear. It's like having all this money, and then being, once you made the money, just being always constantly afraid that you'll lose the money, or having a poverty mindset that because you now have this money that you're penny pitching it and using it on things that won't actually give it value or impact, because you're only doing enough to do a little but not enough to create an impact. So this is Aquarius season, helping us to get rid of poverty consciousness. It's also helping us to get out of our inhibitions that are created by hyperconformity generated by people who we value the opinions of, or we give up our opinion by making the external opinions more important than our own self-check-in. So Aquarius is trying to bring out this energy to make you aware of the value of your own decisions and the value of your own power. The number calling to me is 6, so we will tap into the number, the wisdom and the power of 6, because we need to know what it is that we have, but also what we've accumulated. What are we left with? So we have to find the beauty in the path and the decisions that have created where we are. But in particular, the word that's coming to me is unsung. So it's most likely the things that we're not paying the most attention to, but we've been doing. The evidence and the tangible results is there if we take a second and look at it, but we haven't been necessarily noticing it. So it means that we've either been too busy, or we've been too frantic, whether it's in our energy or in our head, worrying about the results of what we're currently working on, instead of actually seeing whether or not appreciating our skills and actually giving it a chance to produce for us. Yeah. Okay. Our 6 is Ace of Sticks, 2 of Coins. So the ideas are coming to you, 3 of Swords. But we may be fighting ourselves, ancestors, so we're dealing with death. 3 of Sticks, 8 of Baskets. So yes, 8 of Sticks. So definitely dealing with these new sensations and ideas. This has been dancing in your awareness, but there is some inversion. So there's this sense of a feeling that you don't necessarily feel that you can do it, or you have a cynical mindset just at the thought of it. It also means that initially when you're starting out with what's been coming to you, you haven't been feeling like it's even possible to do it. You're having the thoughts because by source design, we're going to generate ideas that like you can't even help it. When we got 5 fucking placements in Capricorn, Capricorn is one of the most, for lack of a better word, materialistic signs in the zodiac. So with so many placements, especially with Mercury and the Sun that have been in Capricorn just recently transitioning to Aquarius, your innate awareness from the universe has been channeling all of the things in the material that you've been realizing that you don't have, or that you appreciate that you do have, that brought you to this point, especially if you created or achieved it on your own. So Ace of Sticks is definitely confirmation. Speaking on as we get ready for the Venus in Aquarius, but speaking on the Venus retrograde, we've been seeing these things come back into our awareness, and when we haven't been able to get them, or we've been feeling like there's so much red tape in between the desire that we're manifesting or thinking on, feeling within our awareness, that we settle for something that is usually a far shoot or a lower shoot from what we set our mark to. So we're feeling disappointed because we're only getting the initial sugar high from the things that are the hollow substitute for the thing that we actually desire. We actually feel like we're cheating or cheating ourselves. In some instances, we actually may be cheating, or cheating in the sense that we're settling for something that's subpar, and it feels like a doppelganger of the thing, the person, or the job, or the situation that we're believing for. Which is, and some of this indecision is coming from this two of Cups, is confirming with us that we're not taking the time because we feel pressed. Where we're standing, we're making the decision from a place that is not necessarily comfortable. Most likely we haven't come into our heart. And we usually don't go into our heart when we don't feel that we deserve something that we had the opportunity to receive. Most likely you had a lot of chances with this. So when the second and third chance have come up and you still dropped the ball, you still bumbled it, you still were held up by hesitation and fear, you find yourself presented with it now, and you're like, well, am I going to do the same thing again? Am I even going to have the ability, 3 of Swords, to bring about a good outcome? You have to realize that you also made these decisions, or the position that you were in when you were presented with the opportunity to fail through, was because karmically you were not ready for it. Spirit sometimes presents us with things that we're not ready for, but we're asking for. Because sometimes you never know. It's like, hey, all right, I'm gonna front you this $50K, but don't fuck me on this. Like, I'll still come get you. But sometimes Spirit goes ahead and takes a chance. It takes a chance. Even if 3 of Swords, even if your heart's not in it, even if you're not quite ready for it, you're not quite being 100% honest about the situation, Spirit still gives a chance. Because you have to take the shot to see where you land, even if it's a failing grade, just so you have the opportunity to come back to it again. That's why the ancestors are coming up. Because you may have failed, that may have had an ending that was not one that was to your liking. But there's a chance and opportunity to birth something new. You got the results from that. You maybe actually didn't even do as bad as you thought you did. You probably just didn't come in first. You might have got the bronze. You might have came in for runner-up or some silly shit like that. But 3 of Sticks is showing that the energy is there. Sometimes we don't always complete our sets, where we're pumping iron, where we got a goal in mind of what it is that we are desiring to do, or that we want to complete, that finish line mentality. Because for something we set out, like I said, I was going to run this 30 minutes. I said I was going to push this much, exert this much for myself to make this metric. And we're pushing for that. And this is letting you know that even sometimes when we don't quite hit that metric, when we set a new goal or we set a new bar, we can still pick up where we left off. We don't have to start completely over from scratch. So the energy is there, which is why we see the Three of Sticks. And it's one that looks very elegant because in a way we can kind of see that we're peacocking and the energy is peacocking. So it means that you don't have to seed all over again. And I do kind of want to touch on this Ace of Sticks because the Ace of Sticks had an inversion feeling. So the energy that you're conjuring up is there within your awareness and you have the ability to draw it to you. But the inversion is showing that because you're perceiving that it's further away than it actually is, you're not actually taking the time to do it. But this three of Sticks is confirming that there's actually more work that's being done. If you simply shift your focus and cut off your distractions, Eight of Baskets, there's a one-sided energy that you can actually have within your awareness to bring out the thing that you haven't been feeling that you've been getting. This Eight of Baskets is also here because I'm really feeling energy of unreciprocated. But this may just be what you're feeling within the heart because you put yourself out there first and didn't see anything come back that was of matching value. But it may not have been of matching value. It wasn't that it wasn't of matching value per se. You just missed what you were supposed to be seeing come back on the return. And you thought you were getting one thing and you got another. So during this time, there's a call for you to, what I feel from Spirit is to ask yourself what's actually in the basket. Were you upset with the fact that you didn't see the package presented the way you wanted and you simply walked away? And you may have even felt like you burned that bridge because you didn't take the opportunity when presented. Sometimes when we fuck up an opportunity or feel that we've messed up an opportunity, we create a barrier or an energy that we're not accepted and that we're cut off from the blessing that we would actually like. So we actually don't even entertain the thought of going to the place where we'd be able to receive the thing. And even if we do show up, any one little thing will make us decide that, it's not for us. That's a sign. Nope, it's not going to work. The wind's blowing. It's blowing towards me. That must mean I need to walk the other way. And we've been looking at that. And some of us have been dealing with people who've been holding this energy. And they've been holding this entitlement, feeling like, oh, well, if you want me, then you got to come to me like this. And, and it's like they're making these people jump through these hoops. And you're making them jump through hoops only to get copper. It's like, I'm not jumping through hoops for copper. It's like I might jump through hoops for diamonds. But these people are presenting themselves like diamonds. And the energy within the collective field, especially with the Capricorn Venus and the Capricorn placement, sometimes paints things better than what they actually are. And that's some of that manipulation energy that comes into play, or that coercion. And then you realize that you're jumping through these hoops, you're going through this courting, you're going for this job, or you're getting back to this prospect, only to find out that it's fucking coppers and pennies. And it's like, you promised me diamonds. And that is one of the most defeating things, and is one of the things that will drive the relationship or the connection that's drawing closer away. If you're seeing coppers when you were promised diamonds, all the relationships where you were promised diamonds and then only to get up on it to be given copper, those relationships are done. Those friendships, those connections that the people were not putting the matching investment in, and you're seeing copper instead of diamonds at the end of the road. This is confirmation that those relationships are where they're at. 2022 is a confirmation that going forward, we're time traveling now. Aquarius is here and it's back from the future to let you know the message that all that shit's done and time is not linear anymore. And these relationships are not going anywhere. They're not going straight anymore. So it's time for you to jump off and take off and do something else. And ultimately, there's a lot of justice that's going to be laid as we move through this Aquarius season, as we get ready for, I believe it's an Aquarius new moon. So it's definitely a great time to let go of holding on to just set standards, sticking to norms, allow for the unexpected, but allow for the unexpected to happen in a good way. Sometimes we hold so much fear of the unknown, and because the unknown seems unexpected, it's not traditional. But with Aquarius, we can really ask ourselves how the unexpected can greet us in a new way. Also, how that we can really radically step out on our own instead of always feeling that our power comes from the collective or comes from the majority. In what ways do you draw strength of your individuality? How can you empower your throat chakra? There's the individual seat of the self, and the power of the self is within the throat. So have you been feeling as if your throat has been stifled, or have you been feeling a fire, the breath of fire within your throat? Ask yourself and bring awareness to each parts of your energy field, especially as we're navigating through the Aquarius season. And ask yourself the parts of yourself that feel the strongest and what areas you want to strengthen within your own individuality and divine self. I hope that this message has been resonating with you. I definitely have been feeling, I didn't know this was the direction it was going to take with as we talked on the Venus retrograde and just the Venus in Capricorn. But ultimately, it seems like Spirit had a different plan. And just speaking on the recap and the justices that are coming to the forefront and the things being left where they are. And as we head into such a divinely gifted and just ancestral, honored and venerated month going ahead. I definitely look forward to the justice, and you should ask yourself within your energy field how you're receiving justice and what karmic paybacks are coming to you during this time. What is the karmic payback that's coming to you during this time that you've been long awaited for? Let that seed within your energy and within your awareness receive this loving message. Definitely share this with someone who needs to hear this as well, and just refer back to this if you're feeling this energy activate as you move throughout the week and the Aquarius season. Much love, many blessings, and Ashe.